So for loosening it, I'm gonna put this piece of rebar in my right hand, run it through there. I have it up against the metal here and here, and then I'm going to grab my channel locks, and then at the same time as trying to break this free, I'm going to provide some counter force, just enough to get this broke free. There we go. I mean, it's hard to keep it from not moving at all, but the idea is not, just enough to not break anything while you're doing this. I'll get this old one off. Alright, so I am going to remove this old red seal, and sometimes it could be on there pretty good, so you have to use like a razor blade to kind of loosen them. I try not to scratch this sealing surface up too much. Just make sure that there isn't any chunks of left behind seal. You buy this little repair kit. You have to make sure you're buying a 1" or 3/4 depending on what you have, and it comes with a new float and the seal for underneath that cap right here, and you definitely want to do that. And then take your new one, place it over the cap, new float. I'm gonna set it on here for now. When it actually comes time to install this, sometimes it doesn't want to fit back in with the float on there. And then another thing, this doesn't always happen, but where this little stud here, where this anti-siphon float sticks onto, can get hard water built up on it, and it doesn't allow it to move freely. So I'm going to try to get that cleaned up so that way it'll function the way it's supposed to. I'm going to get a little piece of sandpaper in here and clean this up. Better, I'll just do a tiny bit more, but see how much easier it moves now. We want that to move freely so it could make a proper seal when the system comes on. And then next, we got the actuator. Oh, one other thing, this one's missing the nut, but usually I'll loosen the nut and just take the solenoid off there. That way I could leave the wires connected. I am going to cut this off so I could connect the new one, but in the meantime, I can just take it off, take it out of my way, and then still know which wires go to the new one because it's still connected. So let's get out of my way. And get that piece of rebar in there to support. There we go. Okay, you got the old actuator, and then you don't have to remove the seal from this because the new actuator comes with one. And then for the new one, you don't really have to do this, but it makes it a little easier if you take the new solenoid off, just so you don't have those wires in your way when you go to put the new one on. So you grab the new seal, kind of just rotate it until it pops down. I like to try to keep the seal centered as much as I can, because as you start to tighten it, sometimes it'll push the seal around and it'll kind of hang out one side more than the other. I don't think it would really affect its sealing abilities, but I just like to try to keep it centered. Okay, so now when you're tightening, you're going to put the backing tool, whatever you're using, on the opposite side. Get these locked on there. Put some counter pressure to tighten this. I try to get these pretty tight because these seals are very thin. They hold up to the heat very well, but they're very thin. So I've had times where I've got it what I thought was really tight, but when I turned it on, it had a little bit of like pin sized water spraying out. So I like to get those really tight. I don't have to worry about that. Okay, so your actuator is kind of reverse as taking it off. The new actuator has to go on first, and then we could place the new float in there. Again, sometimes, like I said, it's easier to do that. We try to do it with it on there. See, this one does fit. If not, it doesn't fit all in one like that. Just drop this the float, and then when you go to set the cap on there, and like I said, there's that post. That post just goes inside the float. Just get this hand tightened. The port piece in there. Nice and tight as we can without accidentally breaking anything. Put the solenoid back on. A little retaining nut. And I like to face the solenoid, the wires coming at the back, towards where they're gonna connect to the wires going to the timer. Alrighty, probably not the cleanest video. Like I said, I've been wanting to make it for a while. Hopefully it'll help somebody.